It's Monday, September 22nd, 2025, and this is episode 343 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, how's everything going?
Good. Everything going pretty good around here. How about yourself, Mark?
Yeah, not bad. Caught a little bit of a cold in Black Hawk, but no big deal. I don't know if you can still hear it in my voice, but I'm almost through it, so not that big deal. Didn't take away from the trip at all.
It's that time of the year.
Yeah, exactly. We all have it here.
Yeah, you just push through it.
So yes, Black Hawk, let's talk about it. Another really good trip. You know how sometimes you can go on a trip somewhere and you just have such a good time and they say, oh, we've got to go back. And then you go back and it's like, this isn't quite how I remember it. Oh, maybe the magic isn't the same as... No, we had a great time.
Right.
Yeah, it was still a great destination. If this becomes an annual thing, I could see us going every year. Yeah, just terrific. And just as everybody in Colorado told us, the weather was great. Here we were worried, September, is it going to be chilly? Is it going to be cold?
Right.
No, it was terrific. Yes, it did rain some of the days, never for too long, but, it was actually in the low 70s most days.
Yeah.
And we went on hikes and everything. Yeah, it was just
That's perfect for hiking and stuff.
Yeah.
They'll probably be getting snow pretty soon, right after that.
Yeah, not too long. And, a little bit higher. Yeah, I was talking to Thomas and Melanie and Melissa about, when the snow finally comes in. I was even wondering if, they close any of the casinos because of the snow. And it sounded like not, although there might be some days where the employees will bring clothes with them to work and, toiletries and stuff just in case they can't get home, before their next shift, that kind of a thing. But
one thing about places in the United States where they get regular snow, we're prepared for it. Those places. I mean, I'm always amazed here in Minnesota how the roads are cleared so quickly.
Yeah.
You can pretty much go unless it's like a blizzard, right?
Yeah.
You can get out and drive. The roads are clear. It might be cold and visibility might not be great, but they keep the roads cleared. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, if it were to snow here, like heavy snow here in San Diego, we probably would not be prepared.
You'd have a problem.
We'd try to figure it out,
If it rained over an inch, San Diego
That's always a problem. We got a lot of rain the other day, and it was a bit of an issue.
Yeah, there's flooding and accidents on the freeway and stuff. Yeah. And if the weather drops, below 65 in San Diego, that's a problem.
Yeah,
too.
you need some kind of big snow jacket or something. Some Gore-Tex or something to get in there. Yeah, that's chilly. Gets down in the 50s. That's rough.
It is bad.
Well, anyway, Sherry and I arrived in Black Hawk on that Tuesday. It was our anniversary, actually, 30th anniversary. Thank you very much.
That's right. I forgot about that. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We actually were diverted to Salt Lake City. We got into a holding pattern over Denver, and we couldn't land because of the weather. Lightning strikes, that kind of thing. And finally, the pilot... It's funny, I'm looking on the display, in front of you. It shows, how long till you land, that kind of thing.
Right.
And suddenly it says Salt Lake City, like an hour. Be an hour till we land in Salt Lake City. So I actually saw it on the display before the captain came on, but he said, yeah, folks, we're at the point now where we're going to need to refuel, so we got to go to Salt Lake City. So I was like, okay.
So how long were you in Salt Lake City for?
About an hour. Yeah,
okay.
They let us off the plane. Luckily, we were able to get out. I had a smash burger. There was one, right by the terminal we landed at.
Oh,
but
that's good.
Yeah, it wasn't too big a concern for us. Some people had connecting flights in Denver, but the crew was saying, well, you may still make your connecting flights because nothing is landing or taking off in Denver right now.
Right.
Because of the weather. But anyway, that didn't really matter to us. So
Denver's such a huge airport.
Yeah.
Can you imagine when there's a snafu there? You probably were better off not being in the Denver airport, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. It is kind of interesting because by the time we did land, again, about an hour in Salt Lake City and then about an hour to fly to Denver, it was late enough that we did not hit any rush hour traffic. Last year when we came in, just getting out of the airport, we were in these huge backups.
Yeah,
So
it's a big airport.
we avoided that. Yeah.
So you were like maybe 3 hours late or
Something
so.
like that. By the time we,
Yeah.
checked into the room, it was like 10 o'clock at night. We just went straight to bed. So,
Yeah.
no
yeah.
big deal.
Well, that was your plan anyway.
Yeah, it worked out.
I mean, no
Well,
matter what time you got there, you were going to go straight to bed.
That's true. You know me.
Just straight to bed.
So, yeah, we spent Wednesday and most of Thursday hiking. We also checked out Red Rocks Amphitheater, which we'd never seen before. There was nothing
That's-
going on at the time. So
That's
we went
great.
over.
Yeah. Lynn and
Actually,
I went there.
Yeah, did some hiking around there.
It's a pretty area.
Yeah. Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah. We
Yeah.
were saying, boy, I wonder if there was much of a pushback to actually have that amphitheater built because it's so beautiful there. But I guess they've been having shows there since like the early 1900s. But
Yeah,
they didn't,
so-
build the amphitheater initially. Anyway,
And it doesn't really take away from
it
the
fits
beauty
in.
of
Yeah.
that area.
They
It fits
made it
in
fit
well.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And we also toured the Morrison Natural History Museum, where they have a bunch of dinosaur fossils and footprints and things like that. It's kind of a small museum, but we had a private
Right.
tour there, and so that was super interesting.
That's always, those are great. Yeah, you need to go up to Montana so you can see Big Mike.
Oh, who's Big Mike?
He's a big, huge dinosaur out in front of the museum
Uh-huh.
in Bozeman, full skeleton.
What is he? Is it T-Rex? Or what is
He's
it?
a T-Rex,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
His name is Big Mike. There's a big plaque there.
Okay.
Really nice.
All right. Very good. Well, Wednesday night we had dinner with Thomas and Melissa and Bing at the restaurant 24/7 at Monarch. This was before the official beginning of the meetup, right? This was Wednesday night, and the meetup didn't officially start till the next night. But we had a meal with them there, and that was very nice. Monarch is considered the nicest property in town. And we stayed at Ameristar, which is the second nicest property. And the reason I chose that is because it's run by Penn Entertainment, who also run M Resort in Las Vegas. And Zorkfest is going to be at M this year. So I
Yeah,
thought, well, if I
right.
can, make a few points here playing at Ameristar, and I'm more likely to play where I'm staying, then, maybe that'll help with if I end up staying at M Resort for Zorkfest. So that was that.
Right, yeah. You and I are going to have to talk about that, where to stay for Zorkfest, because I plan on going.
Okay.
And I just don't know if I want to stay at M. 'cause-
I understand. I mean, you're a gambler, and it's
yeah.
not close to anything else if you want to move
Right.
around.
Yeah.
All right, let's
I don't know.
coordinate.
I'm going to think about it. We'll coordinate that.
Okay, yeah. And then Thursday, Sherry and I got lunch at Clear Creek Cidery and Eatery, where we had gone last year with the group.
Right.
And we got
so
a
it
nice,
was
flight of ciders with our lunch. And those
They
were
had good
quite
food there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Thursday night was the official first meetup at the Video Poker Bar at Ameristar. We ended up all going over to play Squeeze Baccarat at a $25 table there at Ameristar. Kind of took over the table. That was fun. I didn't do particularly well. It seemed to be a player table, and I bet on Banker every time, but you know how that goes. We'd gotten some cocktails over the Video Poker Bar, but once we were at Baccarat, we'd either finish the cocktails or whatever. We were all thirsty. And so we asked the pit, hey, can you call the cocktail server over? And he said he couldn't specifically ask her to come. Like there was no way for him to get on the phone and say, oh, yeah, we need cocktails over here. But he said she should be around every 30 minutes or so.
30 minutes?
I know. Really?
You should have said, oh, where's she coming from?
Oh, yeah. Does she work at several casinos?
Right. Is she down the street at her house and every 30 minutes she stops by this casino?
Oh, sorry, honey. I
mean,
got to go check for drinks here. I'll be back in another 30.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you give the kids a bath? I'll be back in 30.
Drinks.
Oh, my God.
I know. Drink service really was kind of spotty everywhere we went, except for Monarch. Monarch had really good, at least the time we played, they're really good drink service. So that was just the way
Okay.
that was.
People should, every time they call in, they should tell us how the drink service was at a certain place. Because it seems to me, years ago, drink service was like they come by too much, right? They walk by and you're like, oh, I've only taken a sip of this,
Right.
you know? And now it's a miracle if somebody comes by.
It would
it's
be nice to
crazy.
hear from people, especially now that Las Vegas is getting fewer visitors And supposedly they're trying to get a little bit better. There have been some moves, like Wynn got rid of their 000 roulette. Right.
Yeah.
So,
they're really laying their life on the line there.
But there have been other things and some price droppings, but that would be a real good thing to know is drink service improving at all, specifically in Las Vegas, but also at whatever casino you might go to. Yeah, we're definitely interested in that.
Well, Mark, we're living in weird times because alcohol consumption is down in the United States in the last couple of years. And if you had asked me 10 years ago if I'd ever think alcohol consumption would be down, I would say, well, maybe if we had a severe depression or something, but
what are they attributing it to?
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, what I read is just that it was down. And I know here the stave mill's down. They're not making as many barrels because the distilleries aren't ordering them and stuff. Why would people not be drinking?
I don't know. Amongst my group here, specifically, the Tuesday night poker guys, I don't see the alcohol consumption going down at all. If anything, it's going up.
Yeah.
That's been my experience.
I mean, isn't that the way the world goes? I don't know. Are young people not drinking, like, 22-year-olds or 23-year-olds or something?
I don't know. All right.
I don't know.
Something to investigate.
It's a weird world.
So anyway, we weren't doing very well at Baccarat. So Sherry and I went over to the craps table once there was a spot open. And it was great timing because the first shooter, it was just a great first shooter. We were there for like a half an hour. I remember going back to the Baccarat table and telling everybody, okay, the first shooter was good. And it had been like 30 minutes, it's So it went well. But I want to tell you something that happened, Dr. Mike. Never seen this before. Right. I want you to tell me what you think about this. So the dice are going around the table. Sherry and we're only taking up one spot because it's kind of crowded. And I was having her make bets for me and I was giving her a massage. That's usually what we do. And it came to us and the guy to our left said, oh, are you going to shoot or when are you going to shoot? We said, no, we're going to pass the dice. So he said, can you do me a favor to Sherry? They're going to push the dice to you, pick out any two and throw them for just the first roll. And then I'll take over. It's like, okay, sure. So
he wanted to roll twice?
No, it's not that he wanted to roll twice. It's that he had this superstition about how every spot needed to roll. And that was his way of having, Sherry roll or have, this was her official roll. It's just she rolls the first one and then he takes over. Now, okay, maybe he did want to roll twice. That could be. But I thought, that's pretty clever. If you've got this superstition or if you do want to roll twice, just have the person, if they're willing to, just, roll once to establish the point, which she did.
And pass the dice.
And then take it over. And then once he sevens out, that's the end of Sherry's roll, and then he can take over. And that's exactly what he did. What do you think about that?
Well, if he was trying to roll twice, I understand his motivation.
Okay.
Thinking that I roll well, I'll roll once, and then I'll get him again, and I'll have another big roll. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's his thought. If his thought was just some kind of superstition, like, everyone needs to roll to keep the table in a good way or something, then I think that is dumb because I wouldn't even count that as a roll because it's pre-planned.
Okay, I guess I see what you're saying, but if you've got that superstition, so
he's talked himself into a superstition, and then he's going to talk somebody else into his superstition.
Well, here, let's not make a judgment on the superstition itself. Okay, let's not make a judgment.
Okay, yeah.
If you've got that superstition, I think this is a pretty clever way to deal with it.
Yeah, but it's almost like bending the rules, Mark.
Okay, yes, it is.
Bending the rules as far as your superstition goes. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be like if my superstition was to wear a new shirt every time I went to a new table. Uh-huh. And then in my mind, it was a brand new shirt. I just bought it, never worn it. But then one time I forgot to get a shirt. And so I said, well, this one's new today because it was washed and I haven't worn it today. it's finding a way around your superstition to keep the superstition alive.
All right. Well, you had to reach for that analogy, but I appreciate your point. But I do understand. But then again, by you saying that, he's like kind of cheating on his superstition. Well, then you're judging him on what his superstition is. And,
no,
in his mind,
superstition.
But in his mind, doing what he did doesn't undo the
satisfied the requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah, that satisfies. See, for me, it wouldn't satisfy the requirements, but maybe in his mind, it satisfied his requirement for his superstition.
That's what I'm thinking. All right, we've spent way too much time talking about this. I just had never seen it before. I thought, okay, yeah, interesting. Clever.
I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
That's why I tell the kids at school, you learn something every day.
All right, so we had a pretty good session there. After we went to bed, Dr. Brendan, Jordan, Melanie, and Thomas went over to Bally's because they had $5 craps. It was, I think, $15 at Ameristar when we were playing. So $5 craps. And get this, and I know you saw this online, they were able to order comped milkshakes at the table.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was almost like a dagger in my heart.
Yeah, that was the real, you were getting all these messages from us. And it's like, oh yeah, I wish I were there. I wish I were there. And then when you saw that, it's like, oh, I really wish I were there.
Yeah, comped milkshake. I mean, even if they served me a milkshake and I had to pay for it, I'd be pretty giddy.
Yeah.
But having a comped milkshake,
yep.
I mean, that's living large. Mark.
Yeah, last time that happened to us was at Foxwoods.
Yeah,
everyone were playing it like their high limit table and get a vanilla milkshake.
Oh, I know you love vanilla, but when I get milkshakes, I like strawberry.
Yeah, I like a strawberry milkshake, and I like a chocolate milkshake if it's made with vanilla ice cream.
Oh, yeah. And chocolate. Oh, we have a place near here that I go to every once in a while and get a hot fudge milkshake made with vanilla ice cream and hot fudge.
Yeah.
And if you really want to get yourself going, you throw in some malt and you have a hot fudge malt.
Wow. You got me.
Yep, that is living beyond large.
But I don't care for chocolate milkshakes made with chocolate ice cream.
No.
And when you and I worked at Farrell's, anytime we'd make a chocolate shake, it was always vanilla ice cream and chocolate syrup, or we'd use that soft serve machine sometimes for the shakes. But yeah.
Right.
Okay, good.
Well, you're bringing back some old memory there of drinking a shake every day. I wish I could do that now.
Hey, what's stopping you?
Well, there's nothing stopping me except death.
Well said. All right. Well, Friday morning we had coffee dice at Monarch, and that went well. And again, this is in the morning. The drink service was fantastic. Apparently, after Sherry and I left, Kyle from Due for a Win had a really good roll that we missed out on. But there were good rolls before then anyway. So good session for everybody there.
I thought you were going to say after Sherry and I left, drink service went to hell.
It could have been. I don't know. I have to check with everybody who was there.
You think a pit boss could just stand up and yell, "Service! We need service over here." I mean,
Mike, bring back the clickers. We've talked about that.
Yeah, I love the clickers.
Yeah. All right, and then Friday night, we went over to Dragon Tiger to play some $10 squeeze baccarat. And this was going to become kind of a tradition of the Blackhawk trips,
I think. Is that casino in Blackhawk?
It's in Central City.
Central City,
other one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other one, that's what I thought, yeah. It's just, that is kind of walking distance, although it's a...
Yeah, I wouldn't walk. Yeah, it's I mean, of course you could, but no, I wouldn't walk. I'd drive. And they've got a shuttle that goes around too also. So, but, $10 squeeze Bach. It's like, all right. And I didn't attend last year because, I don't know, I was just too tired. But it kind of was almost like the central point of gambling for the trip. I drove up there from Ameristar, found a fantastic parking spot right in front of the casino. Just wonderful.
Always nice.
And went in there, and we'd already taken over a table. There was a spot for me, and we're buying. And, it took a little while to buy in because we figure we're going to be there for a while. And, it's a $10 table. And so it's time to deal, and we're all excited. And I put out 25 out there. So I've got the most money out. And generally the way it works is whoever has the most money gets to touch the cards. And we were all betting on Banker. And so the player's hand was dealt. They flipped over the player's hand and it was a natural 9. It's like, shoot, okay. And they turned over the banker's hand and it was a pair of 7s, which is a 4, and so it's over. So at that point, it didn't really hit us, but it's like, how come I didn't get to touch the cards? Even though the player had a natural 9.
Right.
I should have actually still been able to look at the cards. But it kind of went by so fast, and it's like, all right, whatever. The next hand comes up, and the dealer basically does the same thing. Deals out the cards, shows the player hand, shows the banker hand, and we're like, wait a second. Isn't this a squeeze game? And the dealer said, oh, no, they had to stop that because we were running out of cards. Now, in these squeeze games, you're able to bend the cards. You're able to kind of twist the cards. You're really not supposed to like tear them in half or anything. You get in trouble for that. But, you can mutilate them to a certain extent so they don't reuse these decks. And Dragon Tiger says, no, we were running out of cards. Now, whether that was really the case or not, that's what they said. We're thinking, how much can these cards cost? Or are they having trouble from their supplier? Or did they get tired of how slow a squeeze game is at $10? We can speculate all we want, but that's what they said. And so we said to the dealer, we're sorry you took so much time to cash us in. The only reason we are here is to play a squeeze game. So we're going to leave. There's no way I was going to sit at a baccarat table where we can't touch the cards. The only reason I even do play baccarat is because of the social aspect of touching the cards and, like that. The game itself is dull. Right?
Yeah, it is. You know me, I've always said that. I play it every occasionally here and there, but it's so dull and boring.
Yeah.
It just doesn't interest me.
So, we all cashed in and they understood. Unfortunately, I guess we won't be going back there unless they reinstate it. And
or find more cards. Yeah.
Maybe they'll find more cards in the meantime.
Oh, we found a case in the back. They were under the clickers. Well, maybe you should just said, yeah, what if we bring some cards? Let us bring some cards. Then you can,
they're just these bicycle cards, wax paper cards. You look them over. They're legit. We're not trying to run anything on you. Just,
and we just want to play. We just want to be able to smush some cards.
So he said, well, what should we do? So it was all agreed that we would go down to the lodge and see what they had there. And we were thinking maybe we will play some squeeze bach there, but we found an open face-up Pai Gow poker table. I think there was one woman playing on it, but we said, let's take over all the rest of the seats. We'll play some Pai Gow poker. We haven't played any this trip. And in fact, only 2 casinos now in Black Hawk and Central City combined have any kind of Pai Gow poker. That's Monarch and the Lodge. They're both face up, but some of the other casinos got rid of it. I guess they weren't popular enough. I don't know.
Huh.
So we played some face up there. Now, let's see. I misplayed a hand. Thomas misplayed a hand. Let's talk about those. I didn't foul, but here's what happened. I had a full house. I think it was like 9s full of 7s. 9s full of 7s, so I'm going to separate them here. And I'm looking, it's like, oh gosh, it's going to be a push because the dealer actually has a straight in the 5-card hand. That's fine. I actually was making the side bet because everybody was pressuring me into it. Oh, Mark, you got to do it. And if we hit the 250,000, we'll split it. It's like, all right, fine. It was only $1 a hand. So I got like $4 for that. So, the dealer's turning over everybody's hands. And he looks at my hand. He said, oh, you misplayed. And I'm looking, oh my God, did I foul it somehow? No, look, I played it right. I wasn't paying attention. The dealer did have a straight in the 5-card hand, but he had complete garbage in the 2-card hand. So if I had kept my full house together, my 2-card hand was actually high enough to beat his 2-card hand.
Nice.
And I just wasn't paying close enough attention. And they brought the pit boss over to see if they could change it for me. And he said, unfortunately, the way you set the hand is a valid hand. And I was fine with it. I screwed up. It was no big deal.
When you've messed up.
Oh, yeah. I fessed up to it. I don't know. The Pai Gow gods must have been looking favorably upon me, though, because a few hands later, I had a losing hand. and the dealer flipped it over and, knocked his hands on the table. Oh, push, and collected my cards. So, okay. Worked out even in that case.
Yeah.
Then a few hands later, Thomas didn't see that he had a flush and played his hand as if he didn't have a flush. And sure enough, when they turned it over, I can't remember if he would have won instead of pushed or pushed instead of lost, but he misplayed, just didn't see the flush. So he felt terrible about that. I was like, come on.
Well, that's probably why they have face-up Pai Gow, because they know people are going to mess up. It's not that big of an advantage.
Yeah, they know people are going to mess up. In fact, maybe it'll be even the dealer who messes up, because later a different dealer came in. As soon as she flipped it over, I kind of sighed like, because she had a straight and a pair of twos. She had the joker, so she had to use the joker, but it was a straight and a pair of twos. She didn't see it, played the pair of twos in the 5-card hand and ace in the 2-card hand, the joker.
Right.
And we all benefited from that. So, this stuff still happens, both sides of the table.
At that point, Mark, you should have stood up and just really loud, come on now, everybody play their best Pai Gow.
Yeah, I should have. I would have done it after all the cards were in the muck, though, because I didn't want to call attention to anything.
No, definitely after the muck, and then just sit down and say, all I want is a fair game.
And we're all sitting around after the dealer made a mistake in my case and then, misplaying that hand. We're all waiting for the pit to come over and, I got a call from the eye in the sky. A few hands ago, you actually lost and, we should have taken your money, which we've heard stories about that happening. And luckily, no word came down from the camera.
Probably what happened is the camera guy was looking for decks of cards in the back storeroom.
It could have been. It was a different casino, but that might have been.
Could have been.
Yeah. Maybe Dragon Tiger called over to the lodge. Do you have any extra cards? Hang on a second. Let me turn off the camera for a second.
Joe down there. He doesn't do anything but watch people play.
That's right. And Joe hasn't found any problems on the floor in years. Well, then Saturday morning we went to Horseshoe to play some crapless craps. I will say this, Dr. Mike, the lowest odds on a craps table in Black Hawk and Central City, as far as I know, is 10 times. So it's very good as far as what odds they offer.
Right.
Beyond that, the rules are quite a bit different. Like, for example, since they have crapless craps at Horseshoe, they allow you to buy the 5 and 9. No other place that I went to could I see where you could buy the 5 and 9, and get paid properly.
Okay.
At Monarch, you have to pay the VIG up front for buying the 4 or 10, even. It just was different rules everywhere.
That's rough.
Yeah. But it's nice that Ameristar and the Lodge at least have 100 times odds. So, that's basically infinity as far as I'm concerned. I don't need I can always bet the minimum on the pass line and come and just increase my odds. Anyway, we played some crapless over at Horseshoe, and I was actually looking forward to that. I was going $300 across, so $30 on every number, and it started out great. Just rolling these outside numbers, 2s and 12s and everything. We were just having a ball. And then it turned and went south pretty quickly, and so that was actually my worst session, so I don't really have anything more to say about that. Looked forward to crapless, and ultimately it let me down.
Any crapless in San Diego now?
Not that I know of. I don't know if I mentioned this.
Because they closed the Harrah's one.
Yeah, I guess I did tell you about that. Yeah, I don't know of any crapless in San Diego County. Yeah.
That's funny because, like here, the Isle Casino only has crapless.
Well, if you recall, the crapless they had at Harrah's, you had to pay the VIG up front for everything. Making the game just miserable. So maybe people just didn't play it, right? Maybe if they opened a real, quote-unquote, crapless table, maybe we'd catch on, but no.
Right, yeah. For a while there, I thought crapless was going to take off and really be, go to the casino, have 5 crapless and 2 regular tables or something. But now it seems to be going back to Maybe you'll see a crapless here and there.
Yeah, a lot of the strip casinos still have at least one crapless table. Now, your Iowa casino, that's the only one I've ever heard of where that's the only option.
Only, yeah.
Yeah, no
right.
matter what time of day. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they have one table, and I guess they wanted to do that. It's funny because they have some crapless machines,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like, well, do you have those? Why not just make this regular craps? And someone wants to play crapless, they're over there on the machine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then Saturday night, we went back to the lodge and played Pai Gow poker. It actually was an empty $50 table, but Hutch told the pit that we would fill up the table if she reduced it to 25. So she did, and we filled it up. So that worked out great.
Nice.
Something came up, and I want to run this by you. So the dealer had a full house. Now, what do you do with a full house, Dr. Mike, in Pai Gow poker, especially if it's traditional Pai Gow poker, or you're the banker? What do you do with a full house?
Well, usually you're going to split it up unless you have like ace king and then a full house.
Maybe ace king with a full house.
Yeah.
But generally, you're going to split it up. You're going to keep the 3 of a kind in the 5-card hand and put the pair in the 2-card hand.
Right. The only reason I wouldn't, I guess, is, if my pairs were like 3 3s and 2 2s, and I had an ace and a king, might as well play the ace king.
Yeah, if you got threes full of deuces, yeah, sure. There are times when maybe you wouldn't. Exactly. Right. There are definitely times where you wouldn't. But for the most part, keep the 3 of a kind, the 5-card. Yeah. So the dealer had a full house, and I think her other 2 cards were like ace 8. She kept the full house together and put the ace 8 in the 2-card hand.
Is that a house rule?
Well, I thought it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And so I didn't say anything at the time. But later on, same thing. She had a full house with an ace. It wasn't ace king. It wasn't ace queen. It was just some ace rag. Mm-hmm. And again, she kept the full house together and put the ace up top. And then at that point, it's like, okay, this is not a mistake twice. So I asked her, sure enough, that's the house way. It makes it easy for them.
Yeah, they're not going to lose.
Because any ace, right, they don't have to think about it. And they're not losing that much value by playing it that way. They're making it easy for the dealer. They still have an edge on the game.
And they're not giving up that much. Yeah.
But it did surprise me.
It surprises me because in our casino, Mark, we are not doing that.
Okay.
I mean, even if we have 3s and 2s, unless we have ace king or we had ace 4 and 3s and 2s, we're going trip 3s and 2s on top.
Yeah.
It's as if they're playing not to lose instead of
to win. Well, and it certainly helps the player because if they're not playing that pair in the 2-card hand, you're more likely to push than the other way.
Exactly.
Right. So, yep.
Yeah, especially if it's a low ace up there.
Right. It's still a fairly good chance you will lose against the dealer when they do that because they've got a good hand. Anytime they can play an ace in the 2-card hand, it is a good hand. Right. But I think there will be more pushes than the other way. So anyway, I thought it was interesting. And then on Sunday, people were kind of heading home. Sherry and I did a little more hiking. But again, we were starting to feel these colds coming on. So we ended up just going back to the room and watching football and taking a nap. And so that was a pretty good Sunday. And then we came back on Monday. No problems with the flight at all. And again, another good trip. Thomas is already talking about maybe June next year to do it. So, keep that in mind, and we'll see. He's just throwing it around for right now. We'll see what people think.
Earlier in the summer or early in the fall is probably a good time there.
For you, as long as it's not during the school year.
Yeah, the school year thing kind of screwed me up.
Yeah.
Well, and who knows what I'll be doing next year. I don't know.
That's true.
Although anyway. I'm really enjoying teaching math. Maybe
that's what you said. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah.
Oh, Mark, all of a sudden, it's all coming back to me, all this algebra 2 stuff and a little bit of calculus. And it's just all of a sudden my brain was stimulated. Oh, this is fun. I remember when this was fun.
Yeah. I like math because there's always an answer. There's not a lot of gray area in math.
Well, sometimes the answer is no solution, though.
No, sometimes it's no solution. Sometimes it's 3 or -3.
Right.
So, you got to be aware that there's
there are some oddities, right? Or the solution is, an infinite amount of answers.
Right.
No answer or just a huge amount of answers. Yeah. Anything greater than -2 is an answer.
Yeah. All right. Hey, about 100 years ago, we had our online poker tournament for You Can Bet on That, Mike.
Yeah.
It was so long ago, Mike.
It was.
I was trying to update my notes
Well, it's
here.
about
like,
a
what
month
happened?
ago, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But another great tournament. Let's talk about some of the results here. Our winner was Chauncey Street, also known as Jim from New York, our good friend. He also eliminated me from the tournament in terrible fashion. I had pocket kings, he had pocket sixes. He hit a 6 on the flop, and I was basically out of there. But congratulations to Jim from New York. Second place was Tenesmus. That's quite a name for a Poker Stars thing. Isn't that like some kind of bowel issue that you have? I think it's a...
Tenesmus?
Yeah, tenesmus. Persistent, uncomfortable feeling of needing to have a bowel movement, even when there is no stool present.
I like it now. I love it. I love the definition.
So tenesmus...
Even when there's no stool present.
Yeah, so tenesmus was number 2 in our tournament.
How apropos.
And gosh, he took out you for the bounty. So first and second actually took us both out. And then third place was Bama Michael. So congratulations to those three. And thank you to everyone who played. I'll tell you, that final table was fantastic. When it got down to those last three, they were so patient, waiting for their hands. It was like an hour.
I had to leave because we had family visiting, and I played actually a little longer than I told them I was going to. But so they were all anxious to leave, but we left right away. And then you kept texting me, and I'm like, God, I thought it would go quick here at the end, but it went quite a while.
Yeah. And Mike, talking about that, you actually made the final table.
Yes.
Your best finish ever. You went out in 10th place, but you made the final table.
So, I had to get out quick because I was way past my self-defined limit.
Maybe next time, and I tell you this pretty much every time, block off those Sundays when we actually have a tournament. Don't make plans.
Well, we made the thing, and I didn't know when my mom and sister were going to come and visit.
Uh-huh. So you didn't...
I mean, ours is set, right?
Yeah.
Theirs was like, well, I think we'll come this week.
Not your fault, you're saying? You're trying to lay this on your family?
I'm trying to lay it on my family, right. I mean, I think that's the right thing to do.
Well, congratulations, Mike. I came in 21st place, so you walloped me as far as that goes. As he often does, listener Richard donated $100 to the charity of the tournament winner's choice, and Jim selected City Harvest as the charity. And I'm just going to read this from their website. City Harvest rescues perfectly good, nutritious food that would otherwise go to waste and delivers it for free to New Yorkers experiencing hunger. So another great cause.
Excellent.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Richard, for that donation.
Richard and Jim, you are the man.
All right. Our next tournament will be on March 15th, 2026.
Let me write this down. March 15th.
Mm-hmm. That's the Sunday before March Madness starts, as we always do. So you've got plenty of time, Mike.
Okay, I'm going to write that down. I should be good, Mark. I mean, my calendar right now is fairly full, but I happen to have some time open on Sunday, March 15th in the morning.
Okay. Well, it'll be about noon, your time when it starts.
Yeah. Well, that's morning for Sunday.
That's morning. 12 noon is morning.
On Sunday, because Saturday night you're at the casino till 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. All right. Look forward to that in March. Hey.
Yes.
Thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonThat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's get to a few voicemails here. First up is Nick.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nick calling in from Kalamazoo with a quick trip report. We just got back from a Royal Caribbean cruise to Alaska. This is our second time, and this time we went out of Seattle instead of Vancouver on a bigger ship, which meant it was much more filled with Americans, right? The last time we went on a smaller ship out of Canada, it was mostly older Canadians. The casino wasn't as full. It was $5. This time, bigger ship, more Americans, more gambling. $10, definitely a much busier casino than last time. A couple things to report about their craps. One, they've made some changes on craps, which are somewhat beneficial to the player. It used to be on a $10 table, single time odds. If you bet $25 in the pass line, they give you 2x. And if you bet $50 on the pass line, they give you 3, 4, 5 odds. So now they've eliminated all that, 3, 4, 5 odds, no matter what you're betting. To compensate for that, they did a couple things. One, they charged the VIG up front on the 4 and the 10. And also they made all center action $2. So hard way is $2 no matter what you're doing. You can still put the dealers on it for one, which I did. Had a weird instance with a dealer. They had someone running stick and she was just running over her dealer. She was sending the dice before all of us got paid. You know, we had 6 people on our side of the table. The first 3 got paid and she's moving the dice. And the dealer's trying to be like, hey man, hold on a second. I got to pay people. Well, what happened was the 6 was rolled. I wanted to press a unit. And he's like, I'll get you and the next 2 guys after the roll. 6 was rolled again. And he paid me for the previous step. And I said I wanted to go up. And he said, well, I didn't get that in time. And I said, well, I verbally told you and you hadn't paid me yet. So you actually owe me for 2 6s and one of them should be higher. And he's like, I can't do that. So I just took the money. No worries. I don't want to argue. We're having a good roll. Next roll is a 7. Like, let's just move on, right? Stuff happens. I did have the good luck of getting to parlay and hit a hard way. $2.06 for me, $1 for the dealers. It hits, I parlay. And then later on the roll, a 6 was rolled again. I got paid the $180. I was down a little bit, so that made me feel a little bit better. The other odd thing that happened was a gentleman was having a great roll. He's singing to himself, oh my mama, whatever, while he's rolling the dice. And one of the dice went off the table. Everyone was like, same dice, same dice, same dice. And they're like, nope, it has to be called by the shooter. They gave him all the dice and he was burning them on the table. You know, his hand was over top of all the dice, rubbing them around. And the dealer took him back and they're like, you can't do that. I need to be able to see the dice at all times. And he got real mad about it. He was like, I don't want the dice anymore. And then he was going to spit on the dice. It just got weird. And they kind of were like, all right, dude, you're done. And everyone was unhappy about it because he was in the middle of a good roll. But things happen, right? On all the other games, those side bets, like in Ultimate Texas Hold'em, the trips bet, they made you do $10 on a $10 table. We're used to be able to do 5. So I think that's where they're getting some of that extra money that they're taking from those odds, is that those are high house edge bets. They're forcing you to bet more. Sure, they pay better when you bet more, but when you lose, it hurts more, right? So I think that's what they're doing. Anyway, a pretty good trip. Wife got a hand pay, which was very nice, so we were excited about that. They talked a lot about ratings on the trip because there was a couple that was really concerned about how they were rated. And what they were doing is she was playing the pass line with no odds, a field bet every roll, and then she'd have a come, and then she'd place a don't come. And the pit boss was asked, what's my bet? And he said $20. And he's like, no, it's $40. And he's like, no, it's $20 because you're only betting $20 to lose every turn. The come and the don't come are going to cancel each other out. One's going to win, one's going to lose. So we're not going to rate you on that as $20. And they were all upset and they left. But it's like, that's how it works. That's how the math works. That's how they give you comps. So thought that was really interesting. It was a really transparent ruling by the pit boss. Definitely worth understanding for the future. Really appreciate all of you guys' hard work, the podcast. Super sad about Dice leaving Golden Gate. Always love playing there, even though that dice table is a trampoline. It's a lot of fun. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much, Nick. If a pit boss is really rating you correctly and you're doing some kind of do-we-don't, they would rate, yes, the pass and the don't pass. In the long run, you're still going to lose because of that 12. But they won't do it, like in this example, right? They'll just say, no, you're trying to work the system and get comps and that kind of thing. Even though if they did still rate them that way, they'd get a little something. And that's why on the machines, a lot of times they won't let you bet pass and don't pass. You can't even do it on the machines. So here's what I would say is that if you think you are gaining the system by doing do-we-don't, you're not. Whether they don't rate you correctly or they do, it's still not enough to be ahead on what they give you in comps versus your theoretical loss.
Right. I've always thought that they're like thinking, well, if we do this for a while, we'll get a really good rating and then we'll get our room comped at the end of our trip, or we'll get a free dinner or something. And it just doesn't work like that.
No. And whenever that 12 comes up, and it comes up 1 out of every 36 times, they lose both bets.
Yeah,
right. So,
exactly.
you can't get ahead on it.
Right.
I'm trying to picture what this shooter did wrong, where he's kind of rubbing the dice on the table, and the stick
Well,
says we have to be able to see the dice at all times. What do
Well,
you
he
mean?
might have cupped them all together.
Well, even
like
so, you've seen that a
5
million
dice.
times where guys are
And
spreading it, and you can't actually see every single die, every single
Right.
moment. But he's obviously.
Well, yeah, they're worried about somebody, being sleight of hand.
Well, I know what you're saying, and they're
or
worried
maybe
about it.
rubbing them into the felt too. Maybe
if
they don't
they're
want their
damaging
felt
it.
ruined.
That could
Yeah.
be. Okay.
He may have said that, but it may just be they don't want their felt all tore up if he's digging these sharp dice into the felt.
Okay, that could be.
Who knows?
Maybe. I mean,
know.
I'm just thinking, sometimes they have a reason, but the reason they give you isn't the real reason.
Right.
Because they don't want you to know, like, we've run out of
Right.
cards.
Right. Yeah. Or, they don't want to say, hey, you're ruining our felt. We don't want to have to replace that. And it's just easier to say we need to see the dice something. I don't know.
All right. Thanks for the report, Nick.
I want to say I love the way Nick handled all these situations. He started off the call with several situations that were a little disturbing, and he's just like, oh, yeah, whatever, that happened, that kind of thing. Love it.
Yeah, that is a good attitude to have. I mean, sometimes there could be a real injustice, but a lot of times these are little things that just kind of,
Right.
okay,
Just
all right, fine.
Let it roll off your shoulders like Nick did and just move on. Continue to have fun. Don't get down on stupid stuff.
I might say something like, oh, can you wait until we've all gotten paid before you send the dice or something like that? Just to,
right.
But yeah.
Yeah, he took it well. The only time you're really going to get upset if, somebody says something to you like, you're cheering too loud or something. I still think about that almost every day. You're cheering too loud. We're cheering for you.
We might have a follow-up on that. I'll let you know when I actually hear back, but I think we might have a follow-up on that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey guys, Nathan from Sacramento. So I'm listening to the last episode. I got this inspiration for a call when you talked about the movie Lucky You. I actually saw it in the theater. Two parts to the call. First part is there's another good movie with Burt Reynolds called Deal. Kind of a Color of Money-esque type movie regarding poker instead of pool. But it was actually very good, and I just wanted everybody to know that you might not have heard of that one. And my dad and I got to watch it on a rainy afternoon before he passed away, so it was a good memory I have. But anyhow, the Lucky You movie that you're talking about, there's actually a scene in there. It's about a golf bet and the heat, and I know Eric Lindgren, the poker player, is kind of inspired, I guess, from him. In real life, he did a bet similar. Anyhow, in the early 90s, we were both 20-somethings, and Eric was a blackjack dealer, and I knew him very well. I haven't talked to him in forever, but he was kind of a struggling blackjack dealer, and I was one who had a modest bankroll but could bank the blackjack games at the local Indian reservation. Anyhow, fast forward, Eric became this player of the year in 2009, the WSOP, and he ended up having some trouble in sports betting, and you can read about that. It's public information. But, I used to think like, wow, what a lucky guy. He started out together. We were both the same, and look what he did. And then I'm still living the same life, but he's had a roller coaster ride. So I don't know which one was better. Would you rather have win and lost a lot or just been on the same stable running train your whole life? That's a question, I guess, for another day. Anyhow, just thought I'd share that quick story. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you.
Nathan, I think it's good that you stayed on the stable running train, because Eric Lindgren, yes, even though he had some highs, player of the year, that kind of thing, he fell hard. He still never paid back some of these debts. He filed bankruptcy. You can look it up. He's got a Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Sometimes you climb too high and it's just a lot further to fall.
That's right, Dr. Mike. Yes, well said.
Yeah. I'm with you, Mark. I think the slow, steady train. I would say that since Nate mentioned his father, both of our fathers kind of lived on this slow, steady train in life. They didn't do anything too wild. They just kind of steady stream through, and it worked out well for both of them.
Yeah, and we're not making judgments here on how you should live your life.
No.
But when you get towards the end of that train ride,
Right.
Sometimes it's better if it's been a steady, slow, uneventful trip.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to end up in Salt Lake City.
Oh my gosh. At first they weren't going to let us off the plane. It's like, what? And then luckily there was a smash burger there, but they weren't ready for the onslaught of people that came to order hamburgers because it was really dead in the terminal we landed in.
Late at
Luckily,
night.
we were one of the first ones to order. So anyway, yeah, that movie Deal with Burt Reynolds, I've heard of it. I've never seen it. It's on our movies page. And every once in a while I see it's listed in our TV listings. But yeah, I'll have to check
I always
that out.
liked Burt Reynolds.
Oh, yeah, who doesn't?
He's not a good actor.
He's Burt Reynolds.
But he's Burt Reynolds.
Exactly.
And, he just had that way about him.
Oh,
and
yeah, that
look
swagger. Yeah.
And that swagger. And then, in a way, he was kind of funny and kind of manny at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Well, look how his career did, right? He did Deliverance, which is about as
Right.
serious a movie as you can do.
Right.
And then,
right.
Smoking the Bandit. And so,
Right.
yeah. All right. Let's hear from our good friend, Melanie.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Dr. Mike. It's Melanie from Colorado. Just rolled back into Colorado from Burning Man. After we left there, our first night back in civilization was Reno at the El Dorado. A small place, quite fine. Pretty dead. I just was so tired and dirty and dusty. I went and got a shower and came down to a bar, sat there and played a little video poker, and the bartender ignored me. And after 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, hey, do you think I could get a drink? He's like, this bar is not open. I'm like, oh, okay. What time is it open? 5. It was 4 o'clock. I'm like, okay. So cashed out there. I couldn't find a bar that was open. I finally found somebody at the beer and said, where'd you get that? And they told me it was Vito's. So I went to Vito's Lounge, got a nice cold beer. It was pretty funny. I'm like, can I get a beer? He's like, what kind? I'm like, what do you have? He's like, well, I have 20. What do you like? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Do you have a menu? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. So I just got a Bud Light, kind of lame. Sat there and played video poker. Hit Royal Flush number 9. That was pretty exciting. Got a nice cold drink, enjoyed it. That bartender at Vito's was super nice. When we did go to check in at 3:40, the guy at the front desk said, you can't check in yet, it's $51. I'm like, okay, what time is check-in? 4 o'clock. So yeah, we did not pay $51 for an extra 20 minutes in our room. Also, not particularly friendly. It's a little bit of a, I don't know, what reality shock coming from Burning Man, where almost everyone's friendly and chatty and kind and interesting. And yeah, they weren't so down with that at El Dorado, but didn't play any table games there. I went over to the Peppermill with some friends to meet up there. And oh my goodness, that casino is beautiful. Didn't get to play much there, but went to the Fireside Lounge and highly recommend that. It's a lot like the Fireside at the Peppermill restaurant, a little less 1970s neon, but real cozy spot. So if you ever find yourself in Reno, go to the Peppermill and check out the Fireside Lounge. All right, I can't wait to see everybody next week here in Blackhawk. Everybody's coming. I'm very excited you're coming, Dr. Mike and Mark. It's pretty funny, though. I'll be there before I leave for a weekend in Vegas, going to see Sophie Tucker at the pool, and I believe Don Dalla that night. Yeah, it's going to be great. So if I didn't get enough musical exposure, I guess, at Burning Man. But love the show, guys, and keep up the great work. See you guys soon.
All right. Thanks, Melanie. It was great to see you in Blackhawk. She was very disappointed, Mike, when she found out that you weren't going to make it. So
I know. I wanted to see Melanie. So she's going to have to go to Vegas in December.
Okay. So Zorkfest is your next Vegas trip. I may go a
Yeah.
couple times before then. We'll see. But okay.
Yeah. And I'll probably try and make it next year to Blackhawk, especially if it's in June. That'll be perfect because I'm out of school.
Yeah. Good.
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law live outside Reno in Sparks.
Mm-hmm.
And they were telling me that Reno has gotten to be kind of a little run down almost, if you will.
Uh-huh.
They do go to the Peppermill and they like it. But they were saying, yeah, it's getting a little more seedier.
That's too bad.
It's not the place it used to be anymore.
There's never been a Reno meetup
Right.
with this community. Maybe it's time to create one before it gets worse.
Well, maybe. I was there, it's been a long time. And
Yeah.
Paul and Mary and I went. I enjoyed it. We had a good time. We also went because there was a hockey game we were going
This
to.
is like 30 years ago, right, Mike?
Yeah,
I mean, this,
yeah. But I mean, I that's my memory of
Yeah,
Reno,
yeah,
right? I don't know what it's like now.
Yeah.
Maybe Reno sometime. There's so many other places.
Oh,
to
I know.
go,
I
though,
know. Yeah.
You know.
I know. All right. Well, we do have some more phone calls, but we're going to have another episode next week to get back onto our schedule. So let's hold them for that episode and just finish up right now. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. From James, from Jeremy at the Color Up YouTube channel, from Kurt, from the National Association of Casino Party Operators, from Nathan, from Brian and Sarah, from Josh, and from Crap Vegas. Thank you very much for all those recurring donations. We also got a donation from podcast favorite John B. Karma donation headed to Vegas today, August 29th, in town until September 3rd. Staying at Fontainebleau. Will end up playing more downtown than on the Strip, though. I'm thinking I may be playing the poker tournament from the View Bar. John B. So hopefully you had a great trip, John. Also, during our tournament, Rev Dan took out Tim Lawson, and Tim said that he would have a bounty on himself and pay off whoever took him out. Rev Dan took him out, and what ended happening was Rev Dan sent you, Dr. Mike, a donation for your school fund and told Tim, hey, send the bounty for me taking you out to the school fund as well. So we got school fund donations from both of them, Rev Dan and Tim.
Yes,
So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, both of you. Much, much appreciated.
And then in Blackhawk, Thomas made a bet for us. He bet the run line on the Padres versus the Rockies. And luckily, it was a game the Padres actually won here recently. They beat the Rockies 2-0. So the -1.5 run line actually paid off. He made a bet for us for the podcast and also a bet for your school fund that I sent along to you, Dr. Mike. So thank you very much, Thomas.
Very much appreciated. Wonderful people in this little group of friends we have. Absolutely wonderful.
And then we got a very nice donation from the guys over at Casino Tears, another podcast. Thanks for adding us to your links page. Gonna email you as well. 10 Ton is number 1 from Casino Tears. And Dr. Mike, they did send us some swag additionally.
Oh,
and I'm gonna
nice.
send that along to you. 10 Ton and Ed have this great chemistry on Casino Tears, and they talk a lot of craps. They do talk a lot about dice influencing, and we've mentioned that on our show. We don't really believe in it, but we also cannot prove that it doesn't happen. And they have such a great rapport. It is such a fun listen. So we do encourage you to listen to Casino Tears. You can get it anywhere you find podcasts. And thank you again, 10 Ton, for sending us all this stuff. Great donation and swag and everything. And hopefully we can meet up with him in December when we go. I told him we were going to be there for Zorkfest, so hopefully we can meet up.
Good, good.
All right. We are in the process of working with Tim Lawson at The Better Life to combine our swag stores. And we should have more information on that during our next episode, so stay tuned. In the meantime, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. What do you got, Dr. Mike?
Well, Mark, as I usually do, I wake up in the morning and I lay in bed and I think about craps and gambling and stuff before I start my day, just to get myself going. And I was thinking the other day how craps game is just kind of like life, right? There's a bunch of different people there, and you might agree with some other guys about how they're betting or not agree, or something comes along, like some guy asks you to roll once and then pass him the dice. Unusual things happen, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of what makes life interesting. And I was thinking to myself, we should just celebrate the small things in life. For instance, we talked about shakes at the table. You talked about getting great parking.
Yes.
There's nothing better than getting great parking. We talked about superstitions. Those are little things that just make you happy. Maybe winning a bet that maybe you shouldn't have bet, or you just out of a whim you did it and you won the bet. It just makes you feel good. Or the time you rolled 4 hard 6s in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it didn't really change our lives, but it sure felt good, in that moment.
Yes.
And so I was sitting there reminiscing, I guess, to myself about things. And I thought about how I used to play craps, and every once in a while I'd look down in the rack there with my chips, and there'd be like a penny or a dime or a quarter mixed in with my chips.
Mm-hmm.
And it just always made me happy to look down and see that.
Suddenly there'd be some actual change just in your rack, and you have no idea where it came from.
No, and I have no idea. And so I thought to myself, you know what? That would be a perfect T-shirt for us.
Uh-huh.
A shirt that said, look in your rack every once in a while. Or how about this?
Yeah.
I looked down in my rack and I found change.
I looked down at my rack and I found change.
Or I found a quarter. I looked down at my rack and I found a quarter.
No, I think I found change is perfect, Mike.
I found change.
I found a quarter. That doesn't make any sense.
I looked down in my rack and found change.
Yeah, there you go. Now you've got the thing.
That's what I woke up to yesterday. I had a great day, too. All day long, I kept thinking about that. What a great day.
All right, Mike, I'm going to actually end the show here because I forgot to tell a story. I can't believe I forgot to tell this story because I texted you when it happened, when we were in Blackhawk. Give me a break. It was the very last night that Sherry and I were there. We decided to play craps over at the lodge. That's a great crew there, too. Just had a really good time. We remembered some of the people from last year. Anyway, it wasn't going all that well for me. I was just doing a 3-point molly, and for whatever reason, it just wasn't coming up. And so I was down about $2,000. And I thought, okay, I'm down, but I'm here to play, and yeah, I don't want to be down this much, but I want to play some more. I'm going to buy in here in a second. So I was getting ready to get my money out, but I had enough for one more roll. And it was my roll. And I said, well, what the heck? Let's go 5-5-5 on the all small tall. So now I think you know where this might be going. I am up for my life for the all small tall, even before this happened. Just for whatever reason, I very rarely make the bet, but it seems like when I do, I'm beating the odds as to how often I hit it.
Now, are you including the times I made the bet for you and you won?
No. Those are donations from you. No, I'm counting when I've actually made the bet.
All right.
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. And so, sure enough, I hit it. The last 2 numbers that I needed were 11 and 3. And I rolled them not back to back, but pretty close to each other, 11 and then 3. And it brought me all the way back. I ended up winning $25 for the table. That was the only time the whole trip that anybody made the all while I was playing. And it was the very last roll of my trip, and it was me rolling, and I actually made the bet. So
there's a little thing in life there, Mark, that just made your day.
Crazy.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, it teaches you too. Don't give up. Pull out more money. You'll get it back.
Don't give up.
I've been teaching these things for years.
have. It is the Dr. Mike philosophy. Again, does not necessarily reflect the views of the You Can Bet on That podcast, but doggone it, Mike sticks by it.
I stick by it. Don't give up. Pull out some more. You can do it. Look down. There's probably some change in your rack you didn't even know about.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
I'm so excited. Did you see the ring? Oh my God. I can't wait to tell my parents I'm marrying a doctor.
He's a dentist.
But it doesn't matter. The invitation will still read Dr. and Mrs. What's his last name?